Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of my Minecraft survival series. Today we're gonna do a lot of stuff, but first, I'm standing right on top of this iron vein we found last episode because I plan to mine this out, and the reason for that is, of course, I love iron. I need a lot of it, and yeah, so we're gonna be doing some farming that involves a lot of iron, a lot of hoppers and stuff. So yeah, I'm just gonna make some chests and put them right here. So I'll probably just keep digging as much as I can, and then I'll bring you guys back when I'm done. Welcome back, everyone. I think I have dug out the entire vein. I'm pretty sure I have because sometimes what happens is these veins rather get cut off by caves, and when that happens, sometimes you lose the trail of stuff, and doesn't necessarily mean that the iron has run out too. Sometimes the iron will continue for a few blocks even though you don't have the tuff. That phenomenon is not as frequent as uh, when it happens in granite veins, sorry, copper veins. In copper veins, what happens is because there are so many other types of stone, the granite does get replaced a lot of the times. And if the granite runs out right about here, you can mine for a few more blocks and still find copper. But that doesn't happen as often. That happens more often than it does with the iron vein because there are just not many types of stone that can replace tuff. So what happens is when tuff generates naturally, it generates in blob, in essentially a circle, more or less. So anytime you've hit a patch of tuff that is really wide and there's not much uh, randomness to it, then you can be sure that it's a it's a big patch of tuff that's generated naturally, and it has nothing to do with the iron vein. So sometimes what happens, these patches will generate in the middle of the vein, and the iron can be in the middle of it, but you don't know. You literally don't know. You just think, okay, so it's a patch of tuff, patch of naturally generated tuff, so no need to mine this one. Let's move on. So yeah, sometimes that happens. Things get cut off, but I think I've managed to mine all of it. I'm pretty sure I have. There could be some in the wall still, but I'm not gonna worry too much about those because look at how much iron I've got. I've got almost 7 stacks of it and some change. Got a pretty good amount of gold and diamonds. To got deep slate copper ore, which is quite rare. A lot of tuff, a lot of deep slate, some gravel as well. This has been a very good mining trip, and this iron will be very useful in the future for me. For now, though, it is time to go up on the surface and put all this stuff back. I'm probably gonna leave the deep slate, gravel, and the stuff here because I literally don't have any space to put it in my storage room. So I'm just gonna take this iron with me. Also gonna take all this other stuff that I got from killing mobs here and there. These ores too. So all I've got to do is go up on the surface. I'm gonna go start smelting this iron. Gonna fortune it first, and I'll bring you guys back when I'm done. Alright, so I've just finished mining everything, and this is all I've got. So the iron, it did literally double itself. Well, it's a little less than double, about 1.9, 1.95x. I'm not sure about that. I did save 54 of these because in future when I'm making automated storage, then I'm gonna need this. I'm gonna need the deep slate iron for filtering purposes. I'm probably not gonna smelt this now, so I'm just gonna keep it here and go do something else. I do want to start connecting all of the biomes I've found um, through the nether. So it would be the start of a small nether hub, but I'm not gonna decorate it yet. Um, that that would probably be some other episode, but definitely not building that now. I will build the enclosure for the sugarcane farm just a little later, and I'm pretty proud of that build. because I was testing some stuff out in creative and I quite liked what I came up with. So yeah, I'm excited to show you guys. But for now, I think I'm gonna head into the nether. I do need to repair my pickaxes first. So I'm gonna do that and then I'm gonna bring you guys back with me to the nether. All right, so we are back in another, but this is not our spawn. This is not the place our portal takes us to. This is actually where the mangrove forest portal takes us to. I don't think I've shown you the mangrove forest that I found when I was coming back from finding the mountain biome because the footage was corrupted. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna dig upwards and I'm gonna go back to those coordinates where my portal was. It was right over there. So then I'm gonna dig out a room for it for the portal and relight the portal. But I'm not gonna step through it. I'm just gonna dig towards my own portal, and that way we can have a straight uh, path towards the mangrove forest. I think this area is probably good enough to dig upwards. So I'll just keep going up until I hit the nether ceiling. Alright, so I'm right under the nether ceiling now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dig towards those coordinates. I have them written down right here. So negative 15, negative 213. So it should be that way and a little that way. So I'll start digging this way, I guess. Alright, so we are standing on the exact block where the portal should go. So I'm gonna dig down just a few blocks, so that we have space for all the decorations we're gonna add later. Alright, let's light the portal, and now if we step through it, we'll end up in the mangrove forest. There we go. Let's step back through so we can dig the tunnel to our spawn portal. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna dig straight through. I'm gonna worry about the height later. I'm gonna worry about those leaving space for the decorations because we're gonna have to come back and dig out anyways. Alright, so we are the coordinates of our spawn portal, so let's dig out a little room for it. Let's light this portal, and before we step through it, I'm just gonna gonna dig down here. I'm gonna dig down here and disable that portal. Alright, portal's broken, and we're gonna pillar up where our new portal is. Right, so if we now step through this, it should hopefully spit us out at our spawn portal. So let's see. Yes, there we go, it worked. Now it's nighttime, so I'm gonna go sleep really quick. Alright, so now that the spawn and mangrove portals are connected, I'm gonna do the same for the jungle and the savanna biomes. Alright, so we are at the location of the jungle and savanna biome portal, so let's step through it. And we should be... I think it's thunderstorming, so let's just quickly sleep it away. Yep, we are at the jungle and savanna biome, so that's great news. Let's see if there are any skeleton horses that have spawned. I will kill that creeper though. I don't think I have any cocoa beans, so let's go and find some. There we go. It was quite far away actually. It was right across the river. There was one tree right over here. I just couldn't see it. I think I'm kind of blind. Before we go back to our base, I think I'm gonna spend some time exploring this area to see what we can find, because I haven't really done much the last time I was here. I just visited the acacia biome and the jungle biome. I didn't even explore the jungle biome, to be fair. So yeah, I'm just gonna spend some time exploring here, and I'm gonna bring you guys back when I find something interesting. Well, it looks like that plains biome over there just ends with an ocean biome, and I didn't really want to explore an ocean right now. So yeah, but I did find a shipwreck, and it did get me a diamond nautilus armor. So in future, maybe we could upgrade it to netherite. All we need to do now is connect the mountain biome, and I think it was the jagged peaks biome, and the swamp biomes to our nether hub. So I'm gonna go and do that. Okay, so now all the biomes are connected. The jagged peaks and the swamp biome are in this direction. I forget which one this is. Let me step to it first. Um, okay, yeah, is the mangrove forest. Okay, all right, let's go back. So our portal should be somewhere right down here. I should have labeled these, but I'll probably get used to them once I use them long enough. Okay, no, this is the one to get down from here. Um, okay, maybe I need to label these. Never mind, found it. Never doubted myself for 1 minute. Alright, let's go back. Right, let's see if there's any creepers around. Because, well, we'll need creepers if we want to use our light after we fight the Ender Dragon. I already have about 50, 56. Um, so yeah, that should get us over 2 stacks of it. So I'm not worried about it. But after we do get back from there, we should really start building a mob farm because I don't really have a source of bone meal or rotten flesh, even though you don't need it. I would like it for some trading sometimes, you know. And yeah, a mob farm would solve all those problems. I was just really hopeful that I would find a dungeon at some point because by now I've done enough caving to come across one, but I guess not. Let's see how much gunpowder I have. 58. Okay, my storage system is sort of abysmal because some chests are fully filled up because there's just too many items in them, too many different kinds of items in there, and the rest are just empty because there's not much stuff in it, basically. But now that we have connected the nether hub, I think it is time to start preparing to build the exterior of a sugarcane farm. I've been working on the design of this for a couple hours, and I gotta say, I'm really happy with it. What I've come up with in creative, um, but the problem is, I think I'm gonna use Lightmatica for this because otherwise, I'm just not gonna get it done by the time this video is supposed to go out. So yeah, I'm just gonna go to my creative world, finish that build, put that in Lightmatica, and then come back here, do some resource gathering, and then I'm gonna do that build right here. But for you guys, we're not gonna waste any time and start a time lapse. So enjoy. Look at how gorgeous it is. My god, this is the best thing I've ever built. I've done a thing! My god, this thing's beautiful. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I think it looks pretty cool. The inspiration for this comes from a 3D model I saw while I was researching the word, the phrase rather, medieval silo, and most of the results were just a cylinder on the ground, pretty plain looking, and yeah. So I didn't want to build any of those because, well, it would just even if I like decorate it very well, it would just look like a tower sticking out of the ground, and it would look sort of out of place, in my opinion. So I needed something to command this area, you know. Um, so there was this other 3D model I saw. I think it was a Cult's 3D website. I'll put a link down in the description, but For now, I'm just gonna put the picture up on screen. The inspiration for this comes from a 3D model I saw on a website while I was searching for the phrase medieval silo, and most of the results were just towers sticking out of the ground and pretty plain looking towers because obviously those are for grain storage and looks aren't the main factor here. But even if I did make one of those and decorated them, it would still look out of place because it's just it would just be a tower sticking out of the ground. And for things like those, uh, to make them look good in Minecraft is pretty hard because, well, in real life you can figure out what the purpose of something is. For example, if there's like a tower, a cylindrical tower with a round top, then it would definitely be a silo if it's on a farm. Uh, so, but in Minecraft, making those things look good because there's so many edges is pretty hard. So what you have to do is you have to decorate them, and once you decorate them, it goes from silo to a tower. So when you have like a tower sticking out of the ground, it's sort of hard to visualize what it's supposed to be. Um, but if it's even if it's on a farm, like even if it's on a build that has a farm right next to it, it's pretty hard to determine what it's supposed to be. So yeah, most of the stuff I saw on the images page were just silo shaped, like the regular silo shape, and as I said, it would be kind of hard to do that in Minecraft and it wouldn't be very good. So I decided to go for this picture that's up on screen right now. This was on a website called Cults 3D. It's actually on multiple websites, so I didn't feel like I had to credit anyone. I still don't know if I have to credit anyone for this. So right on top of the search results page, there was this build, which really caught my eye because it has this fantastical element um, where the silo is just sitting on top of a platform that's jutting out from this house structure. So yeah, it's in reality, this probably wouldn't be able to support the weight of a silo, but for Minecraft, it's fine. It looks cool. It's um it's unique, very unique in my opinion. And yeah, so I saw this 3 model on the search page, on the search results page, and yeah, I still don't know if I have to credit anyone, if it's just one person posting it on multiple websites, or if it's just a common design that's literally on hundreds and hundreds of websites. I'll just put the link in my description, and if you guys want to check it out, go ahead. But yeah, the 3D model really caught my eye, so I just wanted to replicate it in Minecraft. So this is my interpretation of it. Well, not it exactly, but a version of it, because as you can see, there are two sections, two house-like sections instead of one, like in the original. Well, and that's because my farm was too wide. So yeah, I had to make it wider, make the actual build wider, and also because the length was pretty long as well. It would be like a rectangular build, and from the sky, it wouldn't really look good. In I think so. Yeah, extending this way, extending and adding this section in the middle really helped it. I also added this cog in the actual image. I don't think the actual mechanism of what's going on here is visible. So if you look at it, there's like an arm jutting out, sort of like a crane, and it's lifting. It's for probably for lifting stuff up, or just as a count, or just to hang counterweights. I think I'm not really sure of it, but the actual mechanism on the back here wasn't really visible. So I decided to add my own thing here. It's just a copper wheel on both sides and connected with a copper block. And yeah, maybe the people that operate this machine use this handle to rotate it, and that's the kind of a lore I'm going for. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good from all angles. It has enough detail, I think. And I think I was supposed to hang a lantern over there, so let me just do that. I have one lantern. I still haven't added any lanterns or vegetation around it, so I'll probably do that off camera. Hope you guys enjoyed the time lapse, by the way. And if you didn't notice, if you didn't catch it, I did use Lightmatica for this. And I know people have a lot of mixed feelings about things like Lightmatica, but in my opinion, as long as you're applying your creative genius, I say genius loosely, at least in my case, as long as you apply your creativity, I don't think what tool you use should matter. If we are getting really technical, I use the creative mode in game and Lightmatica. I use creative mode to build this entire thing and use Lightmatica to make it easier to build it in survival so I don't have to just go back and forth. I don't think using such tools makes you a bad builder because, frankly, the only qualification you need to be a good builder is to be able to think of interesting shapes and bringing them to life and actually being able to visualize it and building it in the game. So even if you do all of that in creative and then use Lightmatica to do it, to just copy it in survival, it doesn't matter because at the end of the day you made it, right? You just use some tools to make life easier for you. So it is your brainchild still. You thought of it. So, and as long as you can think, as long as your thoughts make something interesting, make something beautiful, I think that's all that should matter. But enough about that. Let's talk about the build some more. Let's go inside. Let's fly inside using free cam. As you can see, there is not much of an interior. In fact, there is none because I'm not gonna put in one right now because I'm not really sure what I want to do with it. I was initially thinking of putting a mud farm in here, but I don't think there's enough headroom for it. I mean, yeah, sure, I could make it like like a bit shorter and still work, but um, I want to be able to also produce clay, which is why I want to make it so it goes around like that. And below every horizontal section, there would be a platform, and underneath that platform would be dripstone. So the clay, the mud could actually be drained of its water, and except the bottom one, which would just be mud. But yeah, so that is what I thought, but I'm not sure about it. Maybe I'll put some smaller farms in here, like a glow lichen farm, or a nether vines farm, like one of those twisting vines or the crimson vines or stuff. So yeah, not really sure what I'm gonna do with the space. And if I figure something out, I'm definitely gonna put it in a video. Let's come right back here. I really love this chimney. I think it's very rustic looking, and I also added a bunch of these stairs and slabs to add a bit more depth to it to make it seem like this chimney is old and sort of breaking down apart. This gradient here, I really put a lot of thought into how I'm gonna do this because as you can see, this area, this bit is a bit lighter than this one because I was thinking that the sun would be somewhere around here. I mean, yeah, of course farther away, not like right there. But yeah, so the shadow of this chimney would be cast upon this bit of the roof, and it would make it darker than this area here. So yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's and under the windows, I don't know why I put a window here. Uh, I guess it works if you look from afar, it just pokes out a little bit, I guess. Um, I also shaded under these, added a bit of gradient. Uh, you're not gonna see much of it, but I think it's still get to add some torches back here. which you can't see from the ground, by the way. So yeah, I'm extremely happy with how the build turned out, and it's like commanding. It's gigantic. I mean, yes, for some of you it may not be that big, but for me, this is the biggest thing I've ever built, and it fills out the gap between the starter house and the barn very well. Actually, I can see a gap right there, so maybe to fill that out, and it started raining. Just my luck. Anyways, let's not pay that any attention. As I was saying, I can see this gap here, and I think a tree would look nice there to frame this entire thing out. The starter base on one side and the tree and the barn on the other. I think it would look pretty good. And I don't want to put a building there because, frankly, it's too close to the shore, and I want to keep the if I can get up here. I want to keep this area a lot more open than it is back there. I also added a little shop here because I figured because this side is facing the ocean, facing the front, I thought maybe it should have a little bit more going on for itself. Um, yeah, so every side you look at it from, it's like this commanding presence, sort of. Um, Maybe we'll call this the factory or something. And right around here, I started doing a bit of terraforming. I still need to fill this bit out. My plan is that the path will go like down here, and then it would curve into this section, and it would end sort of about here. So I was thinking to frame this area out, I would just make a retaining wall right here, going all the way this way, and it will look like it's holding on to the land so it just doesn't slide over the farm. But it would make moving this card a little logically moving this card a little bit more challenging because it would essentially be blocked. The only way it could get out was probably for this card to move first, and then for this one to uh, make a really tight 3-point turn and go through here. Also, this card has the oops, there's some glass in here. This card has the collection system hidden quite neatly in here. You can just jump in here and open this chest. So yeah, I'm very happy with this build. As I said multiple times already, if it's not clear, um, um, this is the biggest thing and the best thing I've ever built. I know I said that's the best thing I ever built, but this series is like bringing out the builder in me and making me um, just a little bit better every single time I build. I still have a few things to do around here, like the retaining wall, and I also want to add some vegetation around the house, like back there um, with the starter house, like the mossy bits and stuff. Also want to add some general detaily bits on the house, like this, like lanterns and other bits and bobs. But I think I'm gonna do all of that off camera. So for now, this is going to be the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great day. And don't forget to come back next week. Cheers. Bye for now.